You are tuned in to Kids
in the Pit. Going at it from afternoon. The headlines are getting big. Look at the world. How many people don't get order? Look at the news. The headlines are getting big. Hey guys, it's Gabe from the Kids in the Pit podcast. Today I'm being joined by Chuck Treece from McRad. Thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, glad to be here.
So my band played with your band, and it was awesome to meet you. And you gave me a guitar pedal, and it sounds sick.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that was a fun show. It's the first time I had heard about a lot of the bands on that bill. And I mean, you guys are great and everybody else is great. Watching you just reminded me of my son when he started out at School of Rock when he was age 4 in Downingtown, PA. So you guys kind of gave me that vibe. And also I started early as a musician, playing punk rock and also playing in my dad's band. He had a top 40 band. So to see you guys do the songs that you did and cover like Slipknot and do it in your own way, I mean, it's really impressive.
Thank you.
No problem.
What was your dad's band?
My dad, it was just a top 40 band. He had a bunch of friends from, my dad was a PT instructor, U.S. Army. So he had a bunch of friends that were in the Army also. So they decided to join the top 40 band, which is they're playing covers like Earth, Wind and Fire, or they play some rock, songs. So they played up and down the Jersey Shore and also down in Rehoboth in that area. And so I used to go tag along. And my first show was in Chester at a club called Boots and Bonnets. I was like 8. So I sat with my dad's band and played the song that I knew. And from that point on, I had kind of had the fever.
Was it on guitar?
I was on drums. Drums are my main instrument.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, what do you do in McRad?
In McRad, excuse me. I play guitar. I also have done drum duties for recording, but mainly my first position in McRad was guitar and sometimes backing vocals. I was always a little too nervous to sing, in the first version of the band because we were all teenagers. I was just about to be 19. Our bass player was 15, and the other 2 members of the band were 16. So everyone was basically still I was out of high school, but everyone was still in high school. So we were just developing our sound. So I just stuck to guitar, and I wanted just to be the guitar guy because our lead singer handled everything else.
Nice. Yeah, I hope World of Chaos still plays shows when we're your age.
Yeah, you should. It's fun.
Yeah. And your son plays drums, right?
Yeah, Kieran. Yep. He started doing shows with us around age 15. We were lobbying for shows for the skate park, lobbying with shows for the skate park in Reading, Pennsylvania, through Frank from Anthrophobia. That's another punk rock friend of mine from way back in the day. But Frank decided to start getting involved with getting that skate park built. So we did a bunch of shows, and Kieran just happened to be there because the original drummer for the show was late. So Kieran sat in, and from that day that he sat in, from age 15, he's been, just the main drummer.
Cool. How old is Kieran now?
He just turned 23.
Wow. He looks young. Yeah, I would have thought he was only like 18 or 19.
Yeah. We try to keep life happy.
Super nice kid.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Thank you.
So I played in a band with my dad for a while. He played drums and I played bass.
That's sick.
Yeah.
You got kicked out.
Good.
I didn't get kicked out by my dad, but
You got kicked out.
I was a little annoying in the band.
They need that. They
He
needed
was
that.
replaced. He was replaced by an adult.
It's all good.
Yeah.
They needed it. We were all that way. It's all good.
Yeah. Now I have my own band, which I think is more fun and it's better.
Oh, you guys are great.
Thank you. I mean, not better than like it. More fun for me. I don't mean. I'm not saying we're better bands.
You like it better.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have more freedom to do you, which is good. I mean, that's what I heard, because you get to hear a lot of bands, and I'm not a person that judges music at all. I'll listen to anything or any band, but it's just the fact that the age level and how much music you guys were playing for the amount of years you've been on the planet, that's what was tripping me out. And then you had your own vibe with it. So and it's hard to create when you play in an older person's band because we normally try to gravitate to what they're doing because they're the influencer, but you guys have actually created your own sound. You know what I mean? So, and I've passed on your page to a bunch of friends of mine that are musicians, and everyone is always blown away by what you guys are doing. So I think it's cool you were in your dad's band and then left and then did your own thing. I think that's the best way to do it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, what year did McRad start?
McRad we started talking about it, myself and Zeke. He was in a band called FOD, and at that time he was 14. So Zeke and I were friends when he was about 10 and I was 14. We both skated at Cherry Hill Skate Park in New Jersey. It was an indoor skate park way back in the day. So Zeke and I had already had kind of just our friendship connection. So it was easy for us to just talk when we got older. Be like, well, there's no skate parks, and I like this band that I'm in, but let's just do something that's more centered around skateboarding. So we had a friend of ours, Ethan, and he was 16 and he had the car, so he would drive us to shows. And then we just started goofing around. We started wearing McDonald's hats, you know what I mean, way back in the day, you know what I mean? So it's just 82 was the talk of it. 83 is we had our first picture of Maximum Rock and Roll. It's myself, Ethan, and Zeke, and we're all wearing McDonald's hats because that's where we kind of got the name, the Mick from. But not Bob from Husker Du, Grant from Husker Du, the drummer, came up with the name McRad when we were at a Husker Du show in Philadelphia. It was a basement show. This guy Jeff Jenkins threw on a bunch of really fun shows. He would only charge $5, so we would go down there and meet these guys. And as we were talking around, they just said, "Why don't you call your band, Mick something?" And then he said McRad, so we stuck with that. So it was just almost like a kid thing happening, but we were still once again following our elders. You know what I mean? With all this. So we started to play in '83, and that first version stopped around the summertime of '84, like the end of May. The original lineup. We had just played our last show at JFA. They were playing at University of Pennsylvania, and they just let us sit in on their gear, and play kind of the last time that we were all together. And the reason for that, I know this is long-winded, but our drummer was on a school visa. So he was just graduated high school, so he had to go back to Holland. So we lost an integral part of our sound, like losing Tristan, because he also sang on all the reggae songs and played guitars. He was a really talented musician. So
Yeah, my band's playing 2 shows this weekend with $5 cover charge. It's kind of
yeah, that's what you need. That's what it should take it back to that. Everybody will be happy.
yeah. We had it was supposed to be 3. We had a show in Tennessee.
Mhm.
The promoter,
He had to back out. We
Cancel.
don't know why.
yeah,
Yeah.
he had to back out for some reason. But
Sorry to hear that.
So now it's 2.
two's better than nothing. So
Yeah, two's good. Just make it happen. Go somewhere and record somewhere live or whatever.
yep. So it's on Saturday. It's Carbondale, Illinois, at like an old punk house. I believe Black played there once.
Sick.
Yeah, yeah. My mom's like from there, so she used to
Oh,
shows there when she was my age, which is
that's
cool.
crazy.
It's a house called Lost Cross House, and punk
Okay,
people,
I'll have to check it. That's
punk
wild.
rockers they
That's,
keep buying it, so it'll just be a punk venue forever.
that's so sick. You're lucky, man.
And not the next night, so we have an off day. Then we're
Mhm.
playing West Virginia on a Monday night,
Right.
which is kind of weird, but they let us play, so
Good.
it's hard to get like Monday nights.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an off night, but it's a good night. You know what I mean? As long as you're out there doing it and having fun, it'll all pay off.
Yeah. So you played in Bad Brains back in the day too, I heard?
Yeah, I played drums for them. That was around '94. They released a record called Rise on Epic Records. Mackie was playing drums. Mackie's from the Cro-Mags. He's the drummer on the first Cro-Mags record and a ton of other shows and stuff like that. And the original singer HR wasn't in the band that time. There was a artist by the name of Israel, and we just met him through some other friends because the Bad Brains were looking for a lead singer at that time. I was the permanent drummer, so we did the rehearsals. We found Israel, They went back to use Mackie for the Rise, LP, and then from I guess the Rise LP was released around '95. I just came off tour with Urge Overkill playing bass for them, and the Bad Brains thing showed up, and it worked. You know what I mean? So I toured with them for about 6 months, and I've done a few off and on gigs. The last thing we did was at Shepherd Ferry's location in LA. It was an Obey event for Bad Brains. So myself, Dave Grohl, Moby, Dell Jennifer, and Pete from Scream, we were all the Bad Brains that day.
Wow.
It was crazy to see Moby playing Bad Brains songs on guitar, and then Dave Grohl got up and played Reignition on guitar, and then Dave Grohl and I switched, and he played drums on the songs. It was cool.
Wow. My mom's really good friends with Mackie because
Oh,
she's driven the Cro-Mags to Canada a couple times and like
what? Crazy. Mackie's a beast, man. Mackie's a great drummer.
He's like the best guy ever. Very
Yeah,
quiet.
yeah, Mackie's good people, man. Tell him I said what's up.
I don't even have his number, but the number I have doesn't even work anymore. So I
Yeah, yeah. We did a project together called AM60 where Mackie and I collabed on. My friend Chris Root wrote most of the music, and Mackie, played drums, and I played bass and guitar on the project. It was a real fun situation. We played a bunch of live shows with Mackie too. He's very versatile.
if you talk to him, tell him Brooke, who used to drive you guys, says hi.
Oh, well, I'll reach out to my friend Chris because he's always in touch with Mackie all the time.
yeah. So my favorite Bad Range song is The Regulator. What's yours?
Band in DC, How Low Can a Punk Get? And I like Stay Close to Me is like the one that the song that's in the cut because it's kind of like their first kind of hint at them, doing reggae. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of a calypso vibe of reggae that what they're doing, and they come from DC, and there's a ton of Jamaican and Ethiopian people around there anyway. But those are the ones that I like. I mean, of course, Reignition's amazing, but I think Stay Close to Me would be my ultimate favorite because it's such a different song for them to put on a record, and they did that early in their career.
Yeah. Um, I think you guys covered a Bad Brain song at our show,
Yeah,
but the bathroom missed it. So
yeah, yeah. I normally will take some chords and just start singing PMA over different lyrics because it's like that melody just works over so many different
yeah,
chord progressions, and it's kind of a testament to strong songwriting, even if you're doing it in smaller increments, because it's like the song PMA is just a bunch of choruses. It's not really a verse in the song. It's just a bunch of chants, and it's good that they like got into all that stuff like that. Bad Brains are like my education musically. I just did a show and Daryl was playing bass. It's a benefit for this guy Sasha Jenkins who just passed, and I had a project with Sasha. Daryl had a project with Sasha, but Daryl stepped up twice to play, and it was an honor to see him play because he's one of my biggest mentors. Musically, he's a good friend, but he's still an amazing musician with all that.
yeah. The Bandhausen with my dad covered The Regulator a couple times.
I'll say it's
Yeah.
a great song.
So where do you live? Did you grow up there?
No, I grew up in Wilmington, Delaware, as a child, and then I went out to the burbs of Wilmington for my junior high and high school years. And when I graduated in '82, I moved to Philly, and I've been in the Philly area for years and years and years. I would go back and forth to the West Coast, but now I'm in the Maryland area, like White Marsh area. This is like a lot of skateboarding around and less traffic. I mean, there's still a lot of traffic because it's a big city, being right outside of Baltimore. But the suburbs right now, for some reason in Maryland, are getting some amazing skate parks. We skate this park called Hazelwood. Actually, I'm going there after this interview. It's one of my favorite places to skate. So I'm here with a friend, just chilling, having a good time.
Nice. Um, so what was the first punk show you went to, and how old were you?
The first punk show, honestly, that I went to, I would say I was 18. I was hanging out with a friend of mine, Paul, and he told me a band called the Nihilistics were playing. So we were up in New Jersey, and Paul and I had a band called New Jersey's Finest, and with this other dude, Harpo. So we would basically go to shows together. But my first actual show and getting in the mosh pit was at a Nihilistic show. And they're like a old school New York kind of like punk rock It was before hardcore was really out. You know what I mean? So that would be my first identity show with me being there and also involving myself in the pit. You know what I mean? Not even playing, just as me there as just a young kid.
Nice. Yeah, it's cool that you still skateboard. I try to when I can when we're at a skate park, but I'm not best at it.
Yeah, skating is like as always I post yoga session because there was a time where I could push hard and do whatever, but I have paid the price of just being at a demo doing something, bashing my hand, and then a friend calling me for a studio session, and I had to tape the drumstick to my hand just to get through the session. I mean, I racked myself up pretty bad. So it's if music is going to be the mainstay, it's not that I wouldn't skate, or I guess I would leave all the judgment out of skating because it is a very physical lifestyle, very physical sport, and it doesn't really cater to the lifestyle of a musician as far as the wear and tear on your body. But the only reason why I use it is I don't have to go to a gym. I could just go to a park and just pump around the park, and it's just like being in the gym for an hour. You know what I mean? It's just if I want to get really physical with it, yeah, that takes more time. But 9 times out of 10, I'm just exercising just so I have my endorphins up for a gig. I don't want to show up at the gig all sluggish and out of shape.
Yeah. Um, right before our set, like my bands, me and our guitarist, we were like, so I saw this. No, I think it was me and my drummer. I don't know. We I was on a skateboard and I went down this like really. I mean, it wasn't even that steep, but it was like
Right.
I don't know, like that.
Right.
I was just going for like a while, and I just couldn't stop myself, and I fell. And was that this arm? Yeah, you can
Yeah.
barely see it anymore, but
Yeah, right. You'll remember that a couple years from now, and then 20 years from now. Yeah.
very I have a picture of this arm, but it's probably too hard to find.
And I was young,
Yeah.
wearing elbow pads.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think I would need elbow pads when I was just going down a road, but
Yeah, that's the dumbest falls always get you, and not because you, per se, the person that's in the moment is dumb. It's just that there's dumb moments rolling forward, and we always hit the soft spots in our elbows and ankles and wrists
I
with
think I should
skating. And those are the first one to get hit. It's crazy, especially ankles. That's like painful because you need to stand on stage. I've like had my board shark attack me, and then have to stand on stage for an hour and be like,
And
and
it had like black stuff in the cut, like from the ground.
yeah, just this funny stuff, just the pain and suffering.
right there. That's what it
Yeah.
looked like.
Yeah, road rash.
Yep. It was that show. Dumbass. Still
Yeah. Where's your favorite place you've ever toured?
My favorite place I've probably ever toured for the first time would be we did a tour of well, basically a show in Warsaw, Poland. So it's not really. It was our last show on the Bad Brains tour, and everything that they were doing was pretty much grassroots because they had just gone through kind of like a physical battle with someone else. So there were still gunshot holes in walls and buildings being torn down. Like a lot of things were being propped up just by, people living in squats and, just the education of being somewhere completely different than anything that I'd ever been used to in the rest of Europe and or in America. Like Warsaw, Poland, to me, the honesty of the people that showed up at that Bad Brain show, blew me away because they really respected the culture and the music, and no one was trying to force anything on us. Everyone respected our space, and there was like 2,000-3,000 people there at this show, and it was still to this day probably one of the most electrifying shows that I've played because it was all honesty. Like we had to play on rented gear. We were totally used to the gear that we were on for the whole entire tour, so it was 30 days, 28 shows with 2 days off. So to switch the whole entire back line, drums, guitars, cymbals, everything still worked out. And sometimes that's hard for a touring band to get used to your gear. And then you got one fly date, and all of a sudden you're just in the midst of just all this different change ups. You know what I mean? So that whole night to me made that venue my funnest tour or funnest place to tour because of the one show.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds crazy.
Yeah.
So did you have a favorite movie or TV show when you were my age?
I was really younger. I was really into like Evil Knievel because that's our era. The my favorite movie. I was really into big Frank Sinatra fan, the Rat Pack. You know, it was all into that stuff. Like you know, Jerry Lewis. I mean, this is I don't know. Like my era of young is so way back. You know what I mean? I'm more. I went to a lot of movies. I would say my favorite. I'll go to my favorite cartoon, Hong Kong Phooey. You know what I mean? Or Quackula. Just some weird cartoons. And if I had a favorite movie, because we used to go see these movies as a kid, like in the hood, they had a movie called Blackula. It's the dude who actually played in Pee Wee Herman's TV show was the actual dude that played in Blackula. It's funny. A lot of people don't make that whole situation. It's not too much of a crazy movie, but it's a black vampire movie, and they have their own titles, which I don't want to put on your podcast. But they're funny movies to watch. You know what I mean?
Okay,
You could watch it.
nice.
It's funny. I've seen it.
Weren't you on the cover of Thrasher magazine at one point?
Yeah, May 1984. That was the Thrasher cover, and it was the last black and white cover that they printed because they went to color after that. So I was stoked to receive that. I wasn't expecting it. It was a complete surprise. You know what I mean? Honored. Thank you, Thrasher, and everybody for.
Crazy.
I don't know. That's wild. And thanks to Nike for releasing the SKB dunk that honors that McRad and the 1984 front cover of Thrasher.
Wow. Yeah, it's awesome.
Thanks.
So if you could tell your 13-year-old self anything at all, what would you tell him?
No pressure when it comes to arts or being creative, especially now because there's so many ways to be creative that the pressure is the only thing that would start to bother me as a 13-year-old kid because you want to be accepted amongst people. And so I found punk rock at an early age, right after 13, because I started skating seriously. Stepped on the board when I was 11, but 13 was when I started to develop my identity. And from 13 to 14, it was a huge jump. So my beginning friends at 13 started to change because they weren't into the Sex Pistols. They weren't into. So I had a lot of social pressures to the point where I had to start. I felt like I had to go to I had to go to school with my identity on. So I would go with a Chuck Pistols t-shirt, like pins, safety pins all over my t-shirt. My whole locker would be like I would represent where we were coming from because it was such a small group. But now with the internet, I think people are in more of contact in bigger groups, but you still feel small. So I hope that people don't let the social pressures of being accepted get in the way of how they want to be creative. You know what I mean? And being creative in anything, not just music and skateboarding, the things that we know, but creative in helping bands or drawing people to something new or, you know what I mean? Anything that's out there because it's easy to stay different and it's easy to stay the same, but it's easy to just kind of make people creatively kind of accept both worlds is what I'm trying to say. And pressure at 13 sometimes can be a little heavy. It was heavy for me because everything that I was doing wasn't my culture. There wasn't many black people in skating, other than my friend Peanut, who I grew up with. So we were friends and we grew up together, so we had each other. But I had to learn a whole nother lifestyle. I had to learn a whole nother language at 13 to 14, and it worked. It completely worked. I'm so happy I found it.
Nice. Yeah, I'm lucky to be homeschooled, so I don't have the school pressure that other kids have.
You're lucky. God bless.
So do you have anything else to add before we wrap it up?
um, well, yeah, just I have a bunch of music that's going to be coming out, and my son and I are planning out, a bunch of different shows that are coming through. All of that will be on my IG page. But if anything, just for everybody, thank you for being creative, and thanks to young musicians like you guys, especially forming bands and and making an identity. Thanks to you guys because you're carrying the torch right now. I mean, we've already seen most of the world and traveling around, so there's a whole new level of people that are about to take on what we've done, and I'm honored to see that you guys are one of the bands that's going to do it. So have a
Thank you.
great one doing it.
Yeah, we will. Thanks to Chuck for joining me today, and thanks to all you for watching and listening.
All right.
Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Spotify and other streaming platforms. Until next week, bye.
See ya.